Thanks to the support as a channel member, Yavor Alexiev. Folks, quick public service announcement. Since the FM21 beta dropped earlier in the week, I've been doing 2 videos a day here on the channel. I can't keep that pace up, but don't worry. We're not going to be losing any Leicester videos. We're going to keep Leicester in at 4 p.m. slot every day throughout the beta and probably beyond, even after we've started Non-League to Legend, my main series that we're starting on launch day. I'm just not going to be doing the 11 a.m. videos every single day for the next week because something's got to give. But don't worry, there's still going to be extra content for you. If 1 video a day here on YouTube is not enough, I am still streaming on Twitch pretty much every evening throughout the beta. So make sure you head over to the Twitch, twitch.tv/LOLLUJO. Follow me over there. It's usually around 8 p.m. every evening UK time. Come and hang out with me over there. We have loads of fun every evening. Hello and welcome to part 7 of my FM21 beta save with Leicester. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the second leg of our Europa League second round game against AZ Alkmaar, and we've got a Premier League game against Burnley. But before that, we've got big news. Old man Vardy's busted his hip. He's got a hip injury that's going to keep him out for the rest of the season. When he initially did it, it said 4 to 5 months. It's now between 7 weeks and 3 months. So actually, he might do a miraculous recovery and get back a little bit sooner. But as you can see, the thing with a broken hip is it does start to have an impact on your physical attributes. And at 34 years old, with a busted up hip, this might be the moment where Jamie Vardy starts to decline as a footballer. He's still the Premier League's top scorer right now, but we've probably got the rest of the run in both competitions with Edouard playing up front. And if he hits the ground running, it might be quite hard for Vardy to make his way back into the team as our starting striker for next season. We've only played 1 game without him, and we certainly weren't short of goals in it. Edouard grabbing one. Divock Origi, who's recovering from an injury of his own, came on in about the 75th minute and grabbed himself 2 goals. So we've got 2 options there who are both looking at that vacancy for starting striker at Leicester and thinking, I'll have a bit of that. So Jamie Vardy's days might be numbered. He was fit for the first leg, though, and we are 1-0 up after the first leg, thanks to a goal from Vardy. As you can see, it's another one of these games, which we're getting a lot of recently, where we're dominating the match. If we look at the XG, we're dominating the match, but not quite converting the chances. It is interesting to me that it took Vardy not being in the team for us to go out and smash someone with 5 goals. So might work out for the best. My eyes are already drawn to there, where he got a hat-trick in a 4-2 win. So we can score goals with him in the team as well. Obviously, Premier League's top scorer and all that. So we need to go into this second leg where we are 1-0 up. It's precariously balanced and obviously no Vardy. So we're going with both of the strikers who are vying for his position. Edouard and Origi both going to start. James Maddison isn't fit, so he had to go on a little holiday. In fact, he's not gone on holiday. I've rested him from training, but we do need him on the bench because we're so short of players because they're dropping like flies. As you can see, Origi can only do 75 minutes, so Barnes is going to be coming on during the game. It was a bit of a coin flip whether we go Barnes or Origi to start. Origi came off the bench and scored twice in that last game, so that pushes him into the starting 11. Interestingly, Ikone, who started the season so very well, has really dropped off form-wise in recent games. He's only really had like 3 good games in his last 20 appearances. It's not really what I was expecting from him based on how he started. Now, obviously, he is still young, only 22 years old. He has still got bags of potential. He will come good. I don't know if he speaks English yet, which he speaks basic English. If you're not sure why that's relevant, if you're new to the channel or new to the game, often players who you bring in from other countries don't fully reach their potential or perform to the best of their ability until they speak the language and they're fully settled into the club. So I'm not sure if he's in a social group. He is in a social group. In fact, the only person not in the social group is former captain Wes Morgan, who's not even in our Premier League squad. That's quite nice to see, that our entire Premier League squad are all mates. That's got to be a good thing. I'm very much on board with that. But Ikone, we do need to keep a little bit of an eye on because he's not in the best of form, and we do have other options, particularly Under, who I've not really given much of an opportunity to. But if we have a look at his recent form, you can see that he, when he's getting his opportunities, is very much taking them at the moment. So, I mean, there's a strong argument for starting him. but we're going with Ikone initially, and we're going to keep an eye on him, and he'll come on if need be. So it's going to be Schmeichel in goal, a back four of Castagna, Kayal, Soyuncu and Pereira, and Didi at the base of midfield, Tielemans an hour ahead of him, then Origi, Edouard and Ikone as the front three. We need a big performance from Ikone, or he's going to be off after an hour. That's as much as he's getting. If he's below a 7 on the hour mark, he's being yanked off immediately. I'm not having it. Right, pump those fists, keep the run of form going. There's a spot in the quarter-final of the Europa League at stake here, so we need a good performance. We need a win, or we need to not lose at least, but good performance is important. Life after Vardy. It's starting sooner than I was expecting here at Leicester. We knew at some point during this series we'd have to do it. He wasn't going to stick around for 3 seasons and still be a superb player at 37 years old, surely. But I wasn't anticipating having to do it in episode 7. Pereira grabs a very important away goal, though. The first real attack of the game. And it took us quite a while in the first leg to get a breakthrough. We've not waited as long this time round. And with it being an away goal as well, that is a huge moment. It's 1-0 on the night, 2-0 on aggregate. And we've got to be feeling very good about getting into this quarter-final now, because AZ Alkmaar have got a mountain to climb now to get back into this game, knowing that they need to score 3 goals now to go ahead in the tie. 3 goals against a team that they haven't looked like scoring against. Certainly in that first leg, they did not look like scoring at any point. But of course, they were away from home and potentially coming there to do a defensive job, whereas now in their home leg, they might be a little bit more ambitious with their play. As we're seeing here, they're coming down the left-hand side, and they're doing quite well to move the ball around between their attackers, kind of patiently waiting for a space to emerge. Then they stopped patiently waiting and just lumped a crossover, which we've dealt with comfortably. And Origi, again, doing fantastic defensive work. He gets criticism in the comments. You got to watch not just his attacking play, but as a left-sided midfield player, the defensive contributions he makes are fantastic. And that is a nice direct piece of running from him as well. I really like Divock Origi. There you go. I've said it. I really like him. I think he is my left winger, because I just think he offers more of a complete contribution to that position than any other player that we've got who can play out there. Aouar now plays it forward to Origi, who does very well to keep hold of the ball again, and more good direct running from Origi, and the shot is just a smidgen wide. But he was very close to putting us 2-0 up. And really, at 2-0 up on the night, that puts the entire tie beyond doubt. There's no way they're coming back and scoring 4 goals against us. Surely they're not going to score 4 goals against us. What I am noticing is Edouard absolutely absent. He's unhappy at the club. We've made some mistakes with him. Shouldn't have made the promises to him that he asked us to make. The only problem is he was one of those who refused to even discuss terms unless we made him all manner of outlandish promises, and I should have held firm and just said, we won't sign you then. I knew we needed a striker because I knew how precarious the situation with Vardy was, and I think I've been justified in, we needed a striker because now Vardy's out for the rest of the season. If we hadn't have signed Edouard, we'd have been in real trouble. But the only problem is, if he's not happy, he's not going to play well, and we might be in a bit of trouble anyway. Tielemans, back to Ndidi. Pereira forward to Ikone. It's nice to see Ikone touching a football. Pereira's in again, and it's the second goal of the night for Ricardo Pereira. He's only scored 3 all season, but he's scored 2 great goals tonight. And Ikone in there giving him the praising arm waving. Everyone's waving their arms in FM21. It's what the game's all about. But this is great from Pereira. Why doesn't he do this more often? If he's got this in his locker, why is he saving it all? Is he a big game player? Is this even a big game? I guess it kind of is. It's a latter stage European game, so it kind of is a big deal. But Ricardo Pereira, he is up for it tonight. Let's outstretch those arms, tell them they're doing a lovely job, and just not mess up in the second half. That's all we need to do. Operation not mess up. Ikone is actually playing quite well as well. I just noticed on there, we can see down the bottom here as well, can't we? He's on a 7.1. So at the moment, it's the best game Ikone's had for like a month. So at the moment, I'm not hauling him off the pitch on the hour mark, but we are still very much keeping an eye on him. It would be nice to see him be directly involved in a goal. And actually, because he was scoring a lot of goals early on in the season. I remember talking about how strong the partnership he was forming with Vardy was and how they were almost going goal for goal at one point. And then Ikone just stopped scoring and Vardy carried on. So we want Ikone to get back to that big goal threat that he was earlier in the year, especially if Edouard's not going to be firing. And it really looks like he might not be. There might be an argument for playing Origi up front for a game or two, even though I really like the contribution he makes on the left-hand side. He obviously is primarily a striker, so we could probably play him there if Edouard's not going to work out. But there's no point moving him there in this game because he needs to be substituted shortly anyway, because he's another one who's just recovering from an injury, and the fitness test said he's not able to play a full 90 minutes. So we should probably take him off sooner rather than later because the job is effectively done. We just need to weather this current storm because Alkmaar have woken up a little bit and are coming at us here, but it does open the door for a counter-attack, and there's no one on this left-hand side to do it. I think Barnes is on his way on, and we're going to have a look at the substitutes bench in a second. We're just going to let this highlight end because it's been going on for a long time, and usually when you get a really long highlight, certainly back in FM20, a really long highlight usually means there's going to be a goal at the end of it, and it's just showing you some strange build-up play. But it is Alkmaar have had the ball pretty much exclusively throughout this highlight. And there is the goal that it was building to. It was a very weird build. The ref looks like he might be disallowing it, actually. Are we going to VAR? We are going to VAR. New style FM21 VAR. And it has been disallowed. Wonderful stuff. Let's have a little look at it. And, I mean, it's very, very marginal. Very marginal, but we will take it for sure. And that does end that very long highlight. So Origi needs to come off. Barnes can come on for him. We're going to take off. Should we stick Ikone up front and get Under in on that right-hand side? And that will do for now. What does Ikone want to be as a striker? We've not played him there at all yet. But he can do it, theoretically. So maybe he's the answer. Who knows? Maybe this is what he needs to get back in the goals. 20 minutes playing up front in Europe. What a lovely time he will be having. Aouar is shattered. We need to get him off as well. We've got Maddison's not been training, so Calvin Phillips is the logical one to come on. Don't really want to be playing Phillips as a mezzala, but at the same time, I don't want to stop Tielemans from being the playmaker in there. So I'm sure Phillips can handle 15 minutes playing as a mezzala. Let's face it. The game's already won. The tie's already won. I don't think he's going to be so bad at it that it's going to cost us the match from here. Touch wood. Ricardo on the right-hand side. Is he looking for a hat-trick, of course, Ricardo Pereira? And he is keen to get forward again. He's not interested in seeing this game out. Tielemans has given the ball away there, and Didi sold a little bit short, and Alkmaar are in again, and Schmeichel makes a very good save. In this second half, when they've been going for it, they've looked like a good side. They've just left it too long to go up a gear. They showed no ambition at all in the first leg, very little ambition in the first half of this game, and they've just left it too late. We had too much of a lead before they decided to step up and try, and even when they have, they've not been able to get the breakthrough. So I don't think they were a team that were ever destined to beat us, but it would have been interesting to see what had happened over two legs if they'd have tried to win them. Let's outstretch those arms. Give everybody a pat on the head for well done. And I think, just like in the last episode, we should have the draw for the next round coming up almost immediately before we jump into a league game. So we've got the draw for both the quarter-final and semi-final coming up. I'm still in the tournament. Arsenal, Dortmund, us, Benfica, Atalanta, Porto, Nice and Villarreal. So we've definitely cut the wheat from the chaff here. These are the 8 best teams left in it, I think, based on what we saw in the last episode. So it's starting to get a little bit more tricky to win. But I still maintain if we avoid Arsenal and Dortmund, we're probably going to be maybe Porto. I don't really know how good Porto are in context to a team like Leicester. Arsenal, we do want to avoid. Wow. That is huge for us because one of them is done. Arsenal are top of the Premier League. Dortmund third in Bundesliga. Are Arsenal still top of the Premier League? They're down to 4th in the Premier League. When did that happen? But Arsenal versus Dortmund, one of them's gone. This tournament's opening up for us. Give us Atalanta now, or Nice, and we're laughing. Benfica face Nice, Porto, Villarreal. We're getting Atalanta, and we're away in the first leg. That is very, very winnable. Atalanta 9th in Serie A. We've got to be looking ahead to that semi-final thinking we'll have a bit of this. We've got the semi-final draw now. If we avoid the winners of that tie, we've got to start planning for a final, surely. So, Benfica or Nice, we'll take this one, please. I think we can beat either of them. Benfica or Nice will face Arsenal or Dortmund. So at least we've avoided them. So we are going to be facing the winners. If we beat Atalanta, got to add the if, and we'll be facing the winners of Porto or Villarreal. So certainly tougher than that set of fixtures would have been, but also still doable. Villarreal are 12th in La Liga. Porto, presumably top of the... I mean, we've not got the Portuguese league loaded, but I assume they're likely to be ahead of Benfica. The fact that they're both in the quarterfinals shows Portuguese football not to be sniffed at on FM21. But yeah, Atalanta, definitely beatable. And that's definitely going to be tomorrow's episode. We'll probably follow the same system we've been following, where we'll show you the second leg in Europe and a Premier League game, unless we fall off the pace in the Premier League and it becomes all about Europe this year. But before any of that, we've got that Premier League game to show you against Burnley. So a few changes for the game back in the Premier League against Burnley. We've got Phillips coming into the midfield just to freshen things up. We saw Ndidi getting very tired in the last game. Aouar's also another one who is quite tired, but Maddison is still officially resting after having to sit on the bench for the previous game. He's resting to get him ready for the Atalanta game that's coming up. We're starting under because I think he probably deserves a start. You've seen the form that he's in, and he's grumpy about his playing time. So now is the time to get him into the team. And I think this should be a team capable of beating a 12th place Burnley. That's for sure. If we're serious about a Champions League push, which we have to be, certainly with Arsenal seemingly in free fall, why can't I pick up where I left off and pump my fists? I love pumping my fists. So Arsenal are just crumbling, although it might be that they're just not playing any games because they're still tied up. Although, to be fair, they're in the same European competition we are. There's no reason that should have meant them play 2 less games. Chelsea are the team we're really chasing, so we're 3 points behind them with a game in hand over them. Arsenal, I suspect, will move back above Chelsea with those 3 games in hand unless they are absolutely falling apart. But it's Chelsea we need to keep an eye on. And if we're going to catch them, we need to win games like this. But as has been the case so many times this season, it looks like we're getting a first half with exactly 0 highlights in it. Wow. I'm going to point my finger. Not happy with the performance out there. We're supposed to be a team pushing for a Champions League spot. We've got to be able to beat Burnley. Right, Pereira with the throw finds Under, who is looking for options ahead of him, but instead goes back to Pereira. I'm not against it. We saw in the last match what Ricardo Pereira is capable of. At Phillips, back to Soyuncu, across to Evans. We're just looking for an opening up ahead. Tielemans playing it back to Phillips, and then Pereira's on the move again, having a run forward, beats his man, and actually the ball bobbles clear to Under. He's in a crossing position here if he can keep it in, and he can. Plays it back to Pereira, which might have been the wrong move, but Pereira's done very well here, and these two on the right-hand side are causing problems already today, and there's Origi, and that's a header that he probably should have scored from. It's gone just over, and we've got to be a little bit disappointed that's not ended up in the back of the net. We're going to fire the boys up as a free kick comes in, and it's a really poor free kick. We're looking down at the bench and starting to think in terms of what we can bring on to have a little bit of an impact in this game. Castagna's gone all the way over to the right from left back to take a throw. That's probably something I need to fiddle with in my set piece takers, but Pereira's cut infield to accommodate him. And I mean, he's ridiculous. Ricardo Pereira, now he's fully fit again. He's quite the footballer, isn't he? I had him in the Streamer Showdown last year, and I never remember him being this good. In fact, I vaguely remember him having an absolute nightmare in one game that cost me a tournament. But he's playing well today. Right, Origi and Edouard, neither of them playing well. It's going to be a rare opportunity for Jose Perez to come on and play some football for me. I've not really given him any kind of chance this year. This is his 4th substitute appearance. He's done nothing with any of the previous ones, so let's not hold our breath. But we'll bring Barnes on as well on the left, and hopefully between the two of them, they can muster up something like a goal-scoring opportunity. We've only had 3 shots on target in the entire game. The European hangover is real in FM21, boys and girls. 10 minutes to go, final change. Calvin Phillips is the one who's going to make way, but he's going to make way for Akone, and we're just going to try and push forward a little bit. I know Akone can play in there, so that's exactly what we're going to ask him to do. Just, in fact, almost tempted to partly toying with the idea of switching them around and having Akone further forward, but actually I think what I'm going to do is play them alongside each other and just go to a 4-2-4 and really try and push forward. What does Perez want to be when he grows up? He can be a pressing forward. Lovely. Right, let's do that. We want to demand more as well, but there you go. We can demand more. We've stuck 2 up top. They're not the 2 most inspiring strikers we've got at the club, but you never know. We've got a highlight. We might be about to grab a goal. Castagna plays it all the way back to Schmeichel, who with 3.5 minutes of time left needs to get this ball moving forward. Tielemans plays it to Barnes, who plays it out nicely to Under. We've got an opportunity on here. If we can get this crossover, there's men lined up in the middle, and there's Akone, and there's his 9th goal of the season. Masterstroke, putting him up front. I know what I'm doing, boys and girls. I sometimes look like I don't, but then I do something that makes you think, oh, maybe this lad knows what he's doing. Worryingly, Arsenal have just gone 2-1 up against Manchester City, so any thoughts of chasing them for a Champions League spot are being killed off in front of our eyes. But hopefully Chelsea are slipping up in their game. But I don't know why we're getting multiple highlights. Is there questions of offside here? No, not really. There's about 3 feet between the 2 players there. There's no doubt at all that that was a legit goal. But we'll keep taking the highlights. It was an enjoyable moment. Akone now for pushing forward. Very fortuitous ball that ends up with Castagna, and there's our, and it's 2. We've got a bit of a habit of this. Slow game, but keep on pushing and grab 2 late goals. We did it in the Europa League earlier in the season against... Who is it we did that against? I forget who we played. But I remember us doing it when we were on the verge of going out, and we've done it again here. And it's what we deserve. We've played well. We've definitely been the better team. Burnley have been another team who've come to our place and shown absolutely zero ambition, no desire to get forward at all. And we deserve to win the game, and we deserve to win it comfortably. And that's what the scoreline shows that we've done now, even if it doesn't necessarily tell the entire story. But what I think has also happened is Chelsea have had a little bit of a slip up. They must have played before us, but we're now down to 1 point behind Chelsea with a game in hand. We smell blood with Chelsea. The Champions League push is on, which is always going to be a good thing. So tomorrow's episode, like I said before, 2nd leg of Atalanta and probably Sheffield United away in the league. And hopefully by the end of tomorrow, we'll be in a Europa League semi-final and a Champions League qualification spot. And we'll consider that a job well done with probably 1 or 2 episodes left this season. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.